the city that never sleeps, Hold on, wait a minute.
Alright, now we talking.
Yo, stop showing off with your new camera and get to the point of the video already.
Okay.
Nice quality, by the way.
Thank you. The city that never sleeps, the Big Apple, the capital of the world. These are just some of the nicknames for one of the most visited places on this planet. And of course I'm talking about no other than Gotham City. I mean, New York City. That's lame, man. They don't even have a Batman. In nowadays perception, just the name New York is almost like the definition of the word big city. And if it's your first time, it's easy to get lost in this concrete jungle. So here it is, 10 New York hacks you should know before you go.
Oh yeah, and that thing. Alright, now we can start.
Number 1. Sections. Alright, so New York may be big, but you'll be surprised to see that a lot of the main spots are actually located pretty close to each other. So one of the best ways to save time and use it wisely is to divide your days by areas. For example, day 1, Midtown, which is Times Square, Broadway, 5th Avenue, Grand Central, and so on and so on. Day 2, Lower Manhattan, September 11 Memorial, Soho, Chinatown, you get the idea. Either way, you're gonna have to use some kind of transportation no matter where you're staying. Which brings us to the next tip. Number 2, sleep. Sleeping in New York can be very expensive. In fact, it's probably one of the biggest expenses of the trip. Hostel is probably a good cheap solution for you. It's actually a nice way to meet new people from different parts of the world, to share tips and even travel together. Group discounts. If you do look for some privacy, New York, good luck with that. There are some cheap hotels in Manhattan, but if you really want to play it safe and increase the chances of finding a cheap hotel, you have to think outside of Manhattan. And you're gonna hear me saying this a lot. You can find nice hotels in Queens, Brooklyn, Bronx, sometimes for even half price of Manhattan. And it's only about 20 to 30 minutes subway ride. Just keep in mind that mornings and afternoons are rush hours. So the subway may get a lot crowded. And when I say crowded, I mean New York crowded. So, hey, I warned you. Speaking of subway, number 3, subway. The subway is probably one of the best ways to get around New York City. If you're staying for more than a day or two, you might as well just get the 7-day pass. What would you come here for just a day? What's wrong with you? Extra tip, if you want to avoid the new card fee, save your Metro card. Worst case scenario, you got yourself a nice weird souvenir. Number 4, food. Want to save money on food? That's easy. Don't eat.
That's not a very good tip at all.
I'm just kidding. New York has some of the best food in the world. Now remember the tip about sleep? Same thing with food. The more you get far from the tourist main places, the prices become magically cheaper. And if you don't like pizza, don't you talk to me ever again. Number 5, restrooms. Nobody talks about it, huh? You see, by now you can already guess that you're gonna do a lot of walking around the city. So it makes sense that eventually you're gonna get a call from nature. And let me tell you, nature has a great timing too. Right, a lot of the main places do have public restrooms, but if you're in the middle of the street, well, how many times you had to pretend like you're checking the menu? No? Just me? Okay. And I'm out of focus again. Good. Unlike restaurants and fast food places, when the restrooms are sometimes limited for customers or employees only, darn it, they're onto us. The freak people. It's New York, man. Think big. I'm talking about, of course, stores. Think about it. Hundreds and thousands of people walking in and out every day. Nobody would never know. Haha, I'm like a dog marking my territory everywhere. Sorry. Number 6, Times Square characters. So this one may be pretty obvious for most of you, but for those of you who never visited a main tourist area, Times Square has these costumed characters, and they all want to take a picture with you. After the picture, they will ask you for a tip. In other words, they are charging for the pictures, which is cool. This is their job. I'm telling you this just so you know and be aware. Unlike my tourist friend who got into a fight with SpongeBob and almost ended up in Bikini Bottom jail. Number 7, taxi. Know how to take a taxi.
Yellow car!
A lot of the streets in the city are one way. So first make sure which direction is the place you need to go from the location you're at. Then make sure that you're in a street that goes with the same direction that you need. If not, just move to the next street with opposite way and take a cab from there. I know it sounds kinda silly, but it will save you and the driver a lot of time and your wallet a lot of money. Or just ask the driver to make a U-turn and then you too might end up in Bikini Bottom jail. Number 8, Statue of Liberty. If you're short in time and money, you don't want to pay for a ticket and stand in line for hours, you can take the Staten Island ferry, which goes pretty close to the Statue of Liberty, so you can see the statue from up close. And it's free. Now you do need to get off on Staten Island and wait for the next ferry. So I say, you're already here, why don't celebrate it? Find a good restaurant and eat lunch at Staten Island. Make the best out of it. Might as well. Number 9. Observation. So the Empire State Building might be the most famous one, but you can actually get an amazing view of New York from the top of the rock, which is cheaper, less waiting time, and the view from top of the rock includes the Empire State itself, plus a better view on Central Park. Another tip inside the tip, check the sunset time, so you can time it to catch daytime and nighttime. Number 10, Broadway show. So you're in New York, you want to see a Broadway show, and you do want to see a Broadway, trust me on this one. Funny thing is, ordering tickets online or ahead can get very expensive. So, like the city's spirit, sometimes it's just good to be spontaneous and check the ticket booth the same day. You'll be surprised to find cheap tickets of the last minute. Just keep in mind, it is the last minute, so your seats might not be the best seats, but hey, you're in a Broadway show and you paid like half of what this guy paid. And last but not least, bonus tip, think outside of Manhattan. Right, if it's your first time and you only have a few days, of course you're gonna do the main things, Times Square, Statue of Liberty and all that stuff. Of course, we all did it. But if you do have some time, I deeply recommend to check the outer boroughs. Visit the Queens, catch a game up in the Bronx, eat a pizza in Brooklyn, Coney Island, you know, there's a lot of things to do outside of Manhattan. And there you go, these are 10 New York hacks you should know before you go. If you have more hacks and tips to add, please write it down in the comments below. Let's help everybody make the best out of this crazy place called New York City. That's it, we're done. Alright, let's go swimming. I'm melting here. Woo!
Yo, stop showing off with your new camera and get to the point of the video.
My neighbors think I'm crazy. But I am.